Oh, I'm blue, no one else is blue. Okay, well yeah, no one else is selling dog poop, okay? Hello and welcome to today's video. I'm extremely excited because today I'm going to be covering the top 10 reasons that I find new Amazon sellers fail. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Hi, my name is Sumner Hobart. I'm an actual Amazon seller and I've helped hundreds of new Amazon sellers as well as existing businesses expand onto the Amazon platform. And I've seen those that are successful and those that utterly fail, meaning those that set aside a certain investment amount to sell products on Amazon and then ultimately lose part or all of that investment. And this video is dedicated to help you not make those mistakes, these 10 deadly mistakes that I see so many sellers making. So hopefully this will be helpful. Let's go ahead and get to it. So reason number one for Amazon sellers failing is not using common sense. All right, sounds a little bit harsh and maybe doesn't make sense, but we'll get into a lot more very specific examples here in the next points. But a lot of new sellers I find treat Amazon as a magic box. They don't use common sense, right? It's very, very formulaic, and again, it's gonna make more sense as we go through the other points, but one tactile example that I can give you, which may be something that you've thought about, is a lot of new sellers will come to me, okay? They have a product, they've shipped, they've created their listing, they're ready to launch their product, meaning they're ready to start generating some profit, generating some organic ranking for their main keywords and all of that. If you have questions about product launch, I have videos about that on the channel. They wanna launch their product, they come to me and say, Sumner, is Amazon PPC advertising enough to launch my product? Amazon PPC is just basically where you pay Amazon to show your listing to their customers, right? Pretty much simplifying it. And the reality is, right, these are new sellers, they have 0 reviews. So I asked them, okay, you have no reviews. Is your differentiation, right, is what's unique about your product evident from your main image, right? Because in your ad, the future customers are gonna see your main image. You have 0 reviews and your main image. That's all you have, right? To try to convince someone. You also have your title, right? But to convince someone to click on your ad, right? And they say, oh, maybe, I don't know. So I take a look at their listing and their main image looks almost identical to every other competitor. Okay, so your listing compared to your competitors, you have 0 reviews, they have hundreds or thousands of reviews, right? And your main image looks pretty much like everyone else. If you run ads and you pay Amazon to show your listing to a bunch of different people, why would they click? Why do they have reason? Okay, that's an example, and we're gonna have more examples here, but that's one example of using common sense, okay? Just kind of walk through step by step. It's gonna answer a lot of your questions. Again, people treat, oh, Amazon PPC, how much do I spend? Do I just throw money in and then hopefully something magic happens? Or, I put some keywords in the listing and hopefully something magic happens, right? Again, it's literally like people treat it like magic and it's not. It's gonna make more sense, but that's reason number one. It's gonna continue on through all these other reasons, so that's why I put it first. And reason number two that I see Amazon sellers fail is by entering highly competitive niches. And what I mean by that is, if you have 0 marketing or entrepreneurship or e-commerce experience at all, you have 0, first, you can still sell on Amazon and be very, very successful, okay? But don't go for a highly competitive niche, meaning don't go into a product market where your competitors have hundreds to thousands of reviews. I see this all the time. And basically what I find is there's a lot of new sellers that'll use the exact same tools in the exact same way as everyone else, meaning using tools like Jungle Scout, Helium 10, Viral Launch, right? And looking at something called like an opportunity score. So they look at a certain product category, the opportunity score comes out at like 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10. They're like, oh, looks like a great opportunity. I'm gonna go and source a product and make my own version, okay? Then they ship, create their listing, all of that, and then try to launch and realize, it's really difficult to launch. I'm spending money on ads and not getting anywhere. And that's because you're in an extremely competitive niche. Maybe your competitors have a strong external Amazon presence. Maybe they're driving a lot of traffic from Google ads, from Facebook, from their email list, right? Maybe they already have hundreds or thousands of reviews and you only have 5 or 10, right, compared to theirs. Many, many reasons why, but if you're brand new to selling on Amazon, the best way to be successful is entering low competitive markets, okay? Instead of looking at products that have high revenue numbers, you're like, oh, this one product could set me for life. I could quit my job and blah, blah, blah. Avoid that, because basically the best way I can kind of put this is you have 2 choices, right? You can compete against Olympic athletes for a chance to win $1 million, or you can compete against kindergartners for a chance to win $10,000, okay? And what a lot of people will choose is, oh, I'll compete against the Olympic athletes for a chance to win $1 million. Well, guess what? You're not an Olympic athlete. You will lose against Olympic athletes. So a better way of putting it, so instead of me saying, hey, you could go for this really highly competitive product for a chance to win, $1 million, or a low competitive product for a chance to win 10,000, really the better way of putting it is, you are guaranteed to not make $1 million because you cannot compete. or you have a very, very good chance of making 10,000 competing against kindergartners. So basically, would you rather have 10,000 or zero? Okay, so that's the way I think, that's the best way that I've thought about it, and hopefully that's kind of a helpful way of thinking about it. So when you go to approach products on Amazon, just think, okay, yeah, really high revenue numbers. I'm brand new to marketing, to e-commerce, to entrepreneurship, to Amazon. Maybe in the future I can compete with this, right? But right now with my skill set, focus on something that's gonna give you a lot less stress, headache, potentially more profit, less advertising costs, focus on low competition products. I have a ton of videos and whole courses on Udemy and Skillshare about this. So if you want more information, you can go ahead and check those out. But very, very, very important. One of the biggest reasons I see new sellers failing is entering highly, highly competitive markets and completely failing. Reason number 3 that Amazon sellers fail is not understanding their customer. And I find a lot of, especially new sellers, spending significantly more time, effort, and energy on understanding the product or product category and not the customer. And I promise you, if you do not understand your customer in any business, you will fail. It's just a matter of time. So you could have some initial success just kind of focusing on the product, but you will ultimately fail, okay? Because what will happen is when you don't understand the needs, the wants, the desires, the fears of your customer, even basic demographic information like gender, events or occasions or activities or reasons that people are buying products, okay, then the copywriting, right, in your listing, your images are gonna be very bland, vague, general, and the product and listing that appeals to everyone appeals to no one, okay? So what's gonna happen is a potential customer will go into Amazon, they'll look at your listing, everything will be kind of general and vague because you don't understand them, you don't understand what they need, you're just kind of like, hey, I have this product for sale, it does this, it does that, it does this. And they're like, okay, it does this, it does that, I don't really need this, kind of need that, whatever. Skip, next one, same kind of thing. Your competitor's kind of vague. Skip, go to the third competitor, and that third competitor is gonna have bullet points and description that specifically target exactly what they're looking for, exactly what they need. All the images, right, their product photos are gonna be of people just like them using and enjoying their product in an event or circumstance that they would be using it. And basically the entire listing is going to connect with them in a way that no other listing does, and they're gonna choose that product. It's really that simple, right? You want what's best for you, right? So for example, it's kind of like maybe I want to go play paintball, right? And I have two options. There's either a paintball store or there's a paintball and violin store, right? And you're probably like, well, that's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Yes, it would be weird, but yet Amazon sellers do this with their listing. You're just very general and vague, and it's a product that appeals to everybody, right? I'm like, well, I want to go to the person that specializes in paintball, that knows my needs as a paintballer or whatever, right? And that's just a random example. So something specific that you can do to better understand your customers right now is go to your competitors' listings on Amazon and read through hundreds of product reviews and understand, number one, what are the benefits of the existing product? So why are people, what do people like about existing products? Why are they buying? What events are they buying for? Look at the names of people leaving the reviews, right? So if you're seeing Jennifer, Chelsea, Tiffany, Stephanie, Brittany, right? Mostly female names, then you can assume, okay, the audience is mostly female. You can even write down, okay, this percentage of reviews were likely written by female, this percentage were likely male. So get an understanding of gender, the reason why people buy, what occasions, events, or places that your customers are using these products, and also specifically look at the 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, and 1-star reviews, especially 4-star are really, really great, for reviews that sound something like, I like this product, but X, Y, and Z, right? And basically you're trying to extract the pain points of your customers. So you can find, number one, why are people buying this product? What are they buying for? Who is buying this product? And also, what are their biggest pain points? A lot of, by the way, this is free data, does not take that long. You can even use a free tool like Helium 10 Review Analysis Tool, which is a free Chrome extension, and collect a lot of really, really great data about your customer. I do this every time I write copy for myself or other Amazon sellers that I do consulting and freelance work with. Is always understand the customer, why are people buying, what are their pain points, and then I can specifically write bullet points, either highlighting one of the benefits about why we have an even better benefit than our competitors, and then also how we don't have X, Y, and Z pain point that maybe our customers have, and just bullet those. Again, understand where people are using this product. Then I know, okay, for this, for my images, this is the type of model that I need to have. This is the type of setting that my images need to be in, right? This is what they're using it for, so I'm gonna make sure I call that out. So basically, the customer always should dictate your product, your listing, your copywriting, your images, your advertising, everything. understanding your customer is rule number one. That's where you start. Do not start with the product software. That's a good place to kind of get some ideas, right? But don't just kind of build out from there. Just kind of have a product idea and then say, okay, well, what do customers think, like, dislike about the existing products? Understand your customer first, and then your differentiation will come from that. And then, you know, your design, your listing, everything will come out of that. Okay, so it's kind of like you're understanding your customer is the roots, and then everything else is the tree and the branches and all of that. Okay, that's the best way I can describe it. Something else that you can do that's also relatively simple is social listening. So just go to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You can go to Reddit and all these different social media or other kind of media platforms, and see, and just use certain hashtags or keywords to find what are people already talking about your product types, right? What do people like or dislike about existing products that exist? Another tool that's really great for this as well, specifically for search engines, is called Answer the Public. This is a reverse search engine that ultimately creates questions, right? It pulls questions that people have about specific topics from search engines, and it kind of puts it in one simple graph to where you can quickly see, all right, here's, you know, type in your product keywords, here's questions and curiosities that people have around the specific product type. So Answer the Public, social listening, just going on social media and seeing what are people saying about certain types of products. Look at certain hashtags, look at certain keywords, right? Number three is really, really powerful. Analyzing reviews of your own reviews as well as all of your competitor reviews, and combined, that'll be a really great start to really understanding your customer. You can also go as far as, you know, collecting some real quantitative data using survey data with Amazon Mechanical Turk, and you can get a little bit more advanced, but I find that you can get some really great data on these kind of three methods that I just mentioned. So hopefully that was helpful. Very, very, very important. If you don't understand your customer, you will fail. So that's number three. And reason number four for Amazon sellers failing is not differentiating based on quantitative data, okay? What I find all the time, and this is true of any business or anywhere in life, is if you are the same as every other option, why will anyone choose you, right? If you are applying for a job, you have the same resume as everyone else, the same skill set, you're not gonna get chosen, right? If you have the same product that looks the same, acts the same, feels pretty much the same, is almost the same, maybe it's a little bit different, but pretty much it's the same, no one's gonna choose you, especially when you have 0 reviews starting off. So you need to be better than every other option. And I ask this to new sellers all the time. This is one of the biggest things that I find it drives me nuts is, how are you different? And people will respond with something like, oh, we're blue, or oh, our packaging, or oh, our whatever, right? And those could be valid options, right? You know, if there's no other options that are blue and then you're blue and people want that can make sense, or your packaging, whatever. So I'm not saying those are bad ideas, but what I am saying is bad is that they tell me, hey, our differentiation is that we're blue. And I'm like, okay, why are you blue? Or why is that your differentiation? And they say, oh, well, there's no other option that's blue, so we're blue. Okay? That's where things are wrong. And you're like, wait, why? I don't really understand. Let me put it this way, right? So where can you go, you know, online or in stores to buy dog crap, right? You want to buy a bag of dog poop. Where would you go to do that? Oh, there's no options. So maybe I'll sell dog poop because no one else is. Well, guess what? No one's going to buy it because it may be different. Okay, so don't think about differentiation that way. Your differentiation might be different, but it could be a differentiation or something different that nobody wants. Okay, that's the key. So, oh, I'm blue. No one else is blue. Okay, well, yeah, no one else is selling dog poop. Okay, so you know your differentiation has to be based on data. Don't just say, oh, well, no one's doing it, so I'm going to do it. Fail. You could succeed because you could maybe accidentally tap into an existing desire, right? But you'll set yourself up for failure if you're just like, oh, here's my differentiation because no one's doing it, okay? What you want to do, or something that I encourage you to do, is two tactics that I really find useful is, number one, use a tool like Ubersuggest. Ubersuggest is a free Google keyword analysis tool that will give you search volume or estimated search volume for certain keywords on Google. So what you can do, let's say you're selling a hammock, okay? You want to sell a hammock on Amazon, right? What you can do is you can put keywords before and after the word hammock into Ubersuggest to find the search volume of those keywords and related keywords. So for example, let's say you type into Ubersuggest red hammock, orange hammock, yellow hammock, green hammock, blue, purple hammock, all that, right? All these different colors into Ubersuggest, and you find, oh, well, blue hammock has relatively high search volume on Google. That means people are typing and searching for this on Google. And by the way, almost 50% of all product searches begin on Google. Okay, so it's like slightly over half are on Amazon. It's like 46 or 48%, at least as of right now. Product searches, when people go to buy something, start on Google. Okay, so people are searching for this on Google. They want to buy this type of product. So let's say, okay, blue hammock, pretty good search volume. Then you go to Amazon and you see, oh, no one's selling blue hammock. then that's a good opportunity, okay? Otherwise, let's say you also do the same thing. Let's say another situation, you do the same thing. You type in blue hammock and you see, oh, there's like very, very, very low search volume. And then you go to Amazon and see, oh, there's no sellers. Ah, well now, in this case number 2, maybe there's no sellers because there's not enough demand. See, in the first case, there's no sellers, but there's decent demand, so that could be a good opportunity. In the other case, you actually find, oh, there's very low demand, that's why there's no sellers, okay? See how you can just get, if you just guessed, you don't know if there's demand or not, so you could either be successful or fail and you have no idea, and where it would have only taken you a few minutes to kind of know or have a better idea, okay? So Google keyword data is great. Also Amazon keyword data using tools like Helium 10 or Seller Tools is really great as well. So that's one way, is using keyword data. One of my favorite ways that it's crazy to me that no one is using, or at least no one that I know is using. Number 2 is looking at specifically for design-based products, Etsy and Pinterest, looking at products that either, if they're on Pinterest, have a high number of saves, right? Like lots of engagement and views and all of that and clicks. And then with Etsy, looking at high sales, and it's very easy to actually estimate the exact sales data from specific listings on Etsy. So for example, you go to Etsy and Pinterest, you type in the word hammock, and you see the pins that have the highest number of saves. You go to Etsy and see the best sellers of hammocks. And you look at the kind of the different design types and you're like, okay, these designs are clearly, and you have data to back it, are selling really well or have a lot of engagement on Pinterest. You go to Amazon, but there's none of that kind of design of hammock on Amazon. Again, bingo, that could be a great opportunity. Not that you copy that design, but you could use that as inspiration in whatever way, it could be, I don't know, like Moroccan design hammock or a Brazilian design hammock with palm trees. I don't know, I'm just making this up, but looking at Etsy and Pinterest for design-based, also looking at Google keyword data. These are 2 ways of using real data to back and to ultimately drive your differentiation. Otherwise, you're shooting in the dark. You could be successful or not, but please do not just say, oh, I threw in an ebook. Oh, my packaging is different. Oh, my color is different. Who cares? That's the whole point. You have to ask, all right, how do you know people care? How do you know people want this? Show me the data. And if I ask you that question, you better have some data to back it. Not for my sake, because it doesn't make any difference to me, but ultimately for your sake. So hopefully that's helpful. Obviously, I'm a little bit passionate about that one. At number 5, we have poor photos/graphics, okay? If you want to sell anything online, especially physical products, product photography is unbelievably important. If you have bad product photography, you will fail, period. It's extremely clear, and it's not my opinion. This is based on psychology, and I'll give you a very simple example. So again, this is where using common sense comes into play. Think about if you were to buy a product in a place like Walmart or Target, right? You could walk into the store, you could touch the product, feel it, pick it up, you could listen to it, maybe taste it in certain cases if there's free samples. You can see it, obviously, right? So you can see, hear, smell, potentially taste and touch, right? Pretty much all of the senses around that product to really understand what the product is. When you're selling products online, people don't have that ability, right? They maybe here if you have a video, right, they can listen, but generally it's gonna be almost 100% or like 90% visual, okay? So visual is extremely important. The images are what's gonna sell your products. So if you go in with a mindset of, where can I get the cheapest product photography? You're done, you're failed. Promise you. I promise you that. It doesn't mean you need to waste and spend a ton of money on an expensive agency or anything like that. And I'm not advocating for that either. I'm not saying you should waste your money and you shouldn't be conservative with your money. But if you have the mindset of doing the bare minimum, especially with product photography, I promise you, you will fail. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you spend. You could spend $0 or $1 million. At the end of the day, what really matters is having quality product photos. It's extremely, extremely important. Again, because that's really the only touch point that you have with your customer, for the customer to really envision themselves using it, seeing the product, the size and all of that. So it's extremely, extremely important. But again, don't take my word for it. Feel free to A/B test this. Feel free to look at listings that have terrible images and great images and look at the revenue and profit for both, and you'll see it for yourself. Really straightforward. And that leads us into number 6, which is true of any entrepreneurial venture, and that is doing/spending the bare minimum. If you go into selling products on Amazon and your mindset is, I want to get product photography for the cheapest, copywriting for the cheapest, I want the cheapest supplier, I want to spend the least amount of time and effort on launching, the least amount of time and effort on product research and all of that, you will fail, period. Now, again, this doesn't mean I want you to waste your time and money. It's actually the opposite. I don't want you to waste your time and I don't want you to waste your money. Because you could, do the bare minimum and not end up spending, let's say, $5,000 on your first product launch, right? And you were originally going to spend $10,000, okay? But because you skimped out on everything, you ended up losing that entire $5,000. I'll give you an example here in a second. Where if you would have invested that, you could have wasted $5,000, or you could have invested that $10,000, okay? And ultimately been successful, right? So I don't want you to waste, and again, this is more about a mindset, not the actual monetary or time amount that it takes, but I promise you, I've seen so many sellers that have the mindset of skimping on everything. And what happens in the end is they fail and they're like, oh, see, Amazon doesn't work, next. And they go on to the next thing and that fails and that fails. And you see this consistently in all that they do, everything they touch seems to fail. And it stems from this mindset, okay? You need to be willing to put in the time and the money necessary to be successful. It doesn't mean put in more than necessary, because I don't want you to waste your money and time. That's like the exact opposite of what I want you to do, right? But just make sure you calculate and know how much time, effort, money, everything is needed, and make sure you give the adequate, everything that's adequate in order to succeed. Otherwise, you won't. It's really that simple. And a specific example that I can give that's very, very common, maybe something that you considered, is sellers not using an inspection service for their products, okay? So when you go to source products, especially from overseas, but really anywhere, you want to make sure that they're inspected by a third party, that's not biased, to see that the products are up to quality standards that you've agreed upon with your supplier. You just want to make sure that everything's good to go, because your supplier will tell you they are and send you some photos and videos. But if there's certain products in there that aren't up to standard and they get shipped, then that's ultimately that can ruin your entire listing from negative reviews, returns, and all of that, right? So you want to make sure you have an inspection service. And in general, inspection service can cost you around $200, right? Especially using this in China. And I find so many sellers like, I won't do it on this one. It's just my first. I'm going to save that $200. And guess what happens? There's a defect and this happens so many times because they had the mindset of, I want the cheapest supplier. So they get a cheap supplier, cheap products produced, and they want to be cheap and not pay for an inspection service, which that is necessary. They're cheap products that are defective go into Amazon's warehouse. They launch, they spend money on product photography, on their listing. They spend all this time on product research and software and all this stuff. Their product goes live, they start making sales, and guess what? They get all these returns. They get all these negative reviews. Their listing gets shut down, and they lose their entire investment. So by skimping out and by not putting forth the right amount of time and money needed, they actually wasted more time and money, right, than if they would have put in what was necessary. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. I'm just trying to clarify, but I think I've spent enough time on that, and hopefully that makes sense and helps you from making that mistake. And at number 7, which sort of ties in with number 6, but is different, is having a failure mindset. And I want to be very clear on what I mean by this to not confuse anyone. So someone with a failure mindset maybe look like a young guy who has tried starting their own social media marketing agency. Maybe they've tried drop shipping and Shopify drop shipping. They have tried Airbnb rentals. And then now they're trying Amazon FBA and they just want to see if Amazon FBA works. Meaning, I'm going to, source a product, had good numbers on a product research software. I got it pretty cheap on Alibaba. I got some product photos. Let's see if it works. I'm going to throw up, some money in PPC. That type of mindset is a failure mindset, and you will fail, period, okay? You're just kind of giving it a try. Maybe it'll work, I don't know. And that's very different, I wanna make sure this is clear, from putting in all this work and effort. I want to, learning from people who are experienced in the field, from doing your research with product research, with logistics, putting forth the necessary capital, understanding your numbers, all of that, and still not knowing, hey, this is my first time selling. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I put my best foot forward. If that is you, especially if you're going to learn from your mistakes, you'll ultimately be successful. Okay, that's a success. That's a winning mindset. You don't know that you're going to be successful or not, but that's the right mindset to have. What I'm talking about in terms of the failure mindset, or that's just kind of the word that I'm using for this, is let me just give it a try and see what happens. If you're watching this and that's you're realizing and getting conviction that that's kind of the mindset you've had, you need to stop that and change that right now. It doesn't mean don't sell on Amazon. It means change your mindset before you sell on Amazon, okay? Do your research, put in the work, put in the time. If you don't, you will fail. And this is true of any business, which is why anything entrepreneurial related has a low success rate, period. It doesn't matter if you're starting a Subway franchise, an Amazon FBA business, it doesn't matter. If you go in with the mindset of, oh, I hope it works out or maybe it'll work out, you'll fail. Done, period. So hopefully that makes sense. Of course, if you have questions, let me know in the comments. At number 8, we have not understanding your numbers or not budgeting correctly. So this is also extremely common, and unfortunately this is common everywhere in entrepreneurship, everywhere in business, and it blows my mind because I've never really personally struggled with this, but I know so many Amazon sellers who do. And again, that is not knowing every single cost that's associated with your Amazon FBA business, and more importantly, knowing your profit and your cash flow. So many new sellers focus on revenue, and everyone's posting revenue numbers. Look how much revenue I'm generating. Look how many sales that I'm making. Oh, wow. And a great example is there's someone in our Facebook group posted a screenshot of within a month period they made it was like $150,000 in revenue, or some crazy, I think it was 50,000 actually, $50,000 in revenue in 1 month from one product, right? And everyone was like, oh wow, that's crazy. And I got on a call with him, first to see if he was legit or he didn't just fake that screenshot. Got on a call with him, and we just kind of talked about his business a little bit, and it seemed like a really genuine, honest guy. But what I realized is he had no idea if him and his business partner made any money at all. They may have actually lost money after all of their product costs, Amazon fees, advertising, everything, right? And this is so, and it's not just him. This is so common with so many entrepreneurs or people who are new to the business world. And so many people don't learn and ultimately go bankrupt. So this is really, really important. Number one, know all of your costs. And certain costs you may not be able to know at the beginning. You may have to kind of, you'll only learn once you incur those costs, but you can at least estimate, okay? So at the very least, estimate to the best of your ability all of your costs before starting. Before you launch a product, you should know if you will realistically be profitable or not, how soon you'll be profitable. You should understand cash flow. If you don't know what profit or cash flow are, then you need to do some Google searching and watch some YouTube videos. It's really not that difficult to understand, but definitely do your research in that. And I highly recommend if this is something you're struggling with, or if you're just now thinking, oh, well, Sumner, actually, you're right, I wasn't really gonna take this into account, or what cost should I be taking into account? So number one, I have a YouTube video called, I think it's called The Real Cost of Amazon FBA. You can easily find it. You can go to the search bar of my YouTube channel and type in like cost, FBA cost, and it should be the first video that pops up. That, I literally have a spreadsheet that you can copy and paste and make your own version of, and you can enter in literally all of the costs, or at least 90% or 95, 99% of all of the costs associated with your Amazon FBA business to keep it all right there. Understand your profitability, if the product's gonna be profitable or not, your cash flow, all of that. So you can go and find that spreadsheet there, and I break down everything in that video. And then also there's a really great book called Profit First by a guy named, I believe, Mike Michalowicz. It's been a while since I've read it. Really good book. Very, very simple, easy to understand. It's a fairly quick read, especially for getting the main points. And that's really gonna help you, again, with profitability. Very, very, very important. You should be focusing on cash flow and profit over revenue. Revenue is a vanity metric. It doesn't matter. You need to know your costs. Otherwise, you could launch your product, make $1 million in revenue and actually lose money. So you made $1 million, made $1 million and yet have $0 or even have negative, and you owe money, right? So if you're confused by that, some of you may already know that, right? But if you're confused by that, definitely understand profit and cash flow before getting started. Know all of your costs. I've done my best to kind of break down everything for you. So you can go ahead and find that video if you have questions. But hopefully that's helpful and that makes sense. Again, if you have questions, let me know in the comments. And the ninth reason I see Amazon sellers fail, and hear me out on this, is believing the fallacy of thinking that people care about them. Aside from your mother and maybe your significant other, nobody cares about you. Your customers don't care about you. The agencies that you're partnering with don't care about you. Your suppliers don't care about you. And I'm not trying to do this to offend you. I'm saying this because this is extremely, extremely important. This is extremely helpful when I realized this in my own life for entrepreneurship. And that is, I find so many Amazon sellers coming to me, messaging me saying, Sumner, I spent $10,000, $5,000, $15,000 on this product. I got all this product photography. I spent months researching a product or whatever it might be. Your customers don't care about that, right? You're there to serve them. They're not there to serve you, right? Same thing with your suppliers and all of this. Realizing that nobody cares about you is actually extremely freeing, and it makes you realize, oh wait, I can't blame anybody else except for myself. I can't rely on anybody else except for myself. I can't rely on my future customers or Amazon or my suppliers to do things for me. And when you have that mindset, and again, this is why I'm bringing this up. I'm not trying to offend you at all. The reason I'm bringing this up is to make you realize that this is all on you, okay? And it may seem a little bit stressful, but that's actually very freeing, and it's ultimately gonna increase your chances of success because now you're not gonna blame others for your own mistakes. This is you're gonna teach yourself, you are gonna improve yourself, and then you are gonna put the burden on you, and that's gonna force you to do the necessary research, work, and everything that's needed to ultimately be successful. So the reason I'm telling you that nobody cares about you, is ultimately for you to become successful. And yes, I do care about you, but I don't care about you nearly as much as you care about yourself. And the same goes for every single person watching this video. And it's very, very, very important, in my opinion, to understand for entrepreneurship. And that's the reason I kind of bring it up. So I hope that doesn't offend you, but hopefully that ultimately helps you. And at number 10, which is the number one reason why Amazon sellers fail, is they don't even get started. So I know it sounds cliche, but it's completely true that you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. You miss every opportunity that you don't take. Now, I'm not telling you go, sell products on Amazon, and you will be successful no matter who you are, no matter how much time you're putting into this, no matter how much capital you're putting forward, right? Of course not. I can't, and I won't, because it's not true. But I can tell you from personal experience that my wife and I's Amazon FBA business, literally selling physical products on Amazon, has literally changed our life forever. I can make a whole video about it, not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, in so many different ways. It's either changed or it's been the catalyst of change in our lives, and it's been insane, incredible. Been really stressful along the way too. Don't get me wrong. We've mismanaged tens of thousands of dollars along the way, meaning we spent money on this Amazon PPC agency that was really ultimately just a con, did terrible work. We spent thousands of dollars on them. We had a product that failed that we spent like $10,000 on or whatever. So we've made mistakes financial along the way. We've had a lot of stress along the way, but ultimately we wouldn't trade it for anything. And it's literally changed our lives. And to give you a specific example, I'm recording this video here in Fortaleza, Brazil at my in-laws' house. My wife and her whole family are Brazilian here in Fortaleza, Brazil. And we've just finished up a 6-month trip through Brazil, through some of the most beautiful places in all of South America. Every weekend and every pretty much weekday, we were right next to the beach, plenty of natural, sunlight, fantastic, seafood and everything. It's been wonderful, and we've documented everything on our travel channel, our travel YouTube channel. I'll have a link to that in the description as well. But it's literally changed our life. We are so thankful that we ultimately jumped in. We were still hesitant when we got started, but we're so thankful that we made it forward. And at the time, all of our friends and family thought we were insane, thought we were stupid. There's a lot of people that were wishing that we would fail because they didn't want to see us become successful. And now those same people are asking us how we did it. They're asking us for our courses. They want one-on-one consultations. We're like, all right, you can go schedule like everybody else. It's changed us completely. We are so thankful that we made the jump, but we only did so, and we'd only ever recommend doing so after making sure that you have all the costs kind of in place, that you understand all the costs, have all the financing that you need, that you've done all the necessary research. But even after doing so, just keep in mind, you'll likely still have some fear and be nervous, and that's always good. It's ultimately up to you, but it has the ability to change your life. And I hope you found this video helpful. If you need any clarification on anything, because I know I can stumble around sometimes, or if there's anything that you would like to add, anything that you've struggled with or failed before in Amazon FBA that you've overcome, that you've seen other Amazon sellers struggling with, let everyone else know and help the community out by letting us know in the comments. If you did like the video, be sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because we have a lot of great content currently on the channel, and I'm telling you, we have a lot more great content coming soon, both with Amazon as well as non-Amazon content, which I'm really excited about as well. A lot of big things happening here in the next 3 months, and I want to make sure you don't miss out, so be sure to subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for watching, so much for your support. Ali and I appreciate every single one of you so much, and again, hope this video was immensely helpful to you. If you need anything at all, don't hesitate to reach out, and we're looking forward to your success.